Hi, I'm Rhys from the Eastern Suburbs School of Music, and here's a couple of tips for you beginner guitarists to help you play this instrument a whole lot easier. Guitar's a very physically challenging instrument to learn. You do need a lot of time and patience for your hands to develop the strength and remember the finger shapes to help you play your chords with greater success, with clear sounds, and be able to smoothly move from one chord to another. Two common faults I see is in people's thumb position and their wrist position and angle. So I'm going to help you fix those up today. The first one is getting your wrist set up in a good position. A fault that I commonly see new students and new guitarists do is they have their elbow into their body or on their leg as support, and therefore when they come to the instrument their arms already at a bad angle and their fingers are pointing away from the guitar neck, and therefore they have to come back across themselves to try and reach all the notes and press the strings down. What we need to do is move that elbow just away from your body a little bit so your fingers can straighten up and therefore better access the frets. It has nothing to do with your hand size. It has to do with the angle that you might be putting your hand up. So try and straighten it up, get that palm flat underneath the neck, space your fingers out, and see if that makes it easier to access the strings and the spaces between the frets a little bit easier. This is particularly comes up when I start showing students power chords, that if their fingers are at this angle, it's very hard for them, and you can see how awkward that looks to reach across. Whereas if I move my elbow away from my body, much easier for my fingers to space out enough and reach the frets that I'd like to play. Issue number two that I mostly see is where people are sitting their thumb. You do need your thumb fairly straight at most times. It might tilt and pivot just a little bit depending on which chord you're trying to play, but it should never be pointing like that on the back of the guitar. Big no-no. Mostly because it will be quite difficult for your hand to try and move this way down the fretboard. Your thumb's constantly going to drag you back towards the head of the guitar, and also your thumb's going one way and your fingers are trying to reach across your palm the other way. It's going to severely limit what frets you can access. So by tilting your thumb nice and straight, remember that palm fairly straight so the fingers can access the frets, you're getting a better way to reach all the strings of the instrument. So it's almost like forming a U shape or a C shape around the neck of the guitar. And once you have your thumb in that straightened position and your fingers spread across the frets, to access the skinnier strings on the guitar, the higher pitch sounds, you will tilt your wrist and your thumb around. So your thumb will sit just slightly higher when you're trying to access the skinnier strings, the higher pitched strings. When you need to access the deeper strings, the low strings, simply roll that U shape around the neck to help you access all the strings. So my thumb is sitting much lower on the back of the instrument when I'm trying to access the strings at the top of the guitar neck, the thick strings, and it rotates and pivots around when I'm reaching the high notes of the guitar. So just check that. What does your arm angle, your wrist positioning look like? Where have you placed your thumb? is it nice and straight to balance out everything that you're playing. The last one is just how far forward your wrist does need to come. As a beginner, because you're lacking a little bit of hand strength, I often see people are quite flat with their wrist. You do need to push your wrist forward at a little bit of a curved angle. Yes, it will be a bit of a strain as a beginner to start out with. It's all a part of the strength and conditioning that you need to do. So I recommend pick material that's not too hard to learn, that's not too hard on the wrist to begin with. Single notes. Or power chords are a great place to start to get the strength into the wrist before you start trying your open chords, your bar chords, or your jazz chords. With that wrist, push it out as front as you can to help you access the strings and be able to grip and push down onto the fretboard with greater strength as well. So, arm at a better angle, thumb nice and straight, wrist forward. The last tip then is really use the end of your finger to push down the notes. By using this fleshy part of your finger, I tend to find students get fairly flat, dead tone sound, and it can get a bit buzzy as well. And also they find they're needing to put way more pressure onto the string if they're using that fleshier, flat part of their finger. Get on your fingertips. Think like a ballerina getting up on point. Right on the ends of those fingers and push in. Curve from the knuckle. That will allow you to get out of the way of the strings that are underneath what you're playing. And this is particularly the case if you've tried open C chord and open F chord. You really need to get on the points of those fingers, otherwise you'll get those flat dead sounds from these fingers dragging down onto the strings below and deadening them off. So my 4 tips for today: arm position and angle, move it out away from your body and off your leg. Thumb nice and straight. Wrist out forward. And finally, getting right on the points of your fingertips to make better connection with the string against the fretboard, and the need to use less pushing in grip strength. Guitar, you do need to have a very subtle aggression to play it. Don't be soft and sensitive and scared when you're playing. Really tight grip, but you can't choke the guitar, as your fingers will get very stiff when you're trying to change chords. It's just a very subtle aggression that you will learn with time and patience. There's no time limit on learning this instrument, just your own drive and patience. You'll get there. Good luck with that. If this tip or these series of tips have helped you out, please leave a comment. Give us a like on this video by clicking the thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel, the Eastern Suburbs School of Music YouTube channel. There's plenty of guitar tips on here, mostly aimed at beginner guitarists like yourself. Good luck with your playing, and we'll see you again soon.